Joining me now is Michael Cohen, who once served as Donald Trump's lawyer and chief problem solver. Michael flipped on his former boss to help, among other investigations, special counsel Mueller's probe into Russian election meddling. But what did Michael get for his cooperation? Possibly a clean conscience, but also 3 years in prison. So what's the value of a flip? And what's the real roadmap for a potential Trump indictment? Right now, here's Michael Cohen, former executive vice president of the Trump Organization and former special counsel to Donald Trump. Michael, you're also the host of the podcast Mea Culpa. I know you've talked about this a decent amount, but I want to know, based on your experience cooperating with various law enforcement investigations, can you give us some insight into what Ali Alexander might be in for now? Because he says he's cooperating with the DOJ in its probe into the attack on the Capitol.
Yeah, so let me say this. I don't particularly care for the word flip. What I did is I cooperated. And that's what I suspect that Ali Alexander is. Now, I don't believe that we have the same reasons for why we cooperated. I cooperated because a man who I had protected for over a decade and longer decided that I should be the scapegoat for his dirty deeds. Ali Alexander is a complete different scenario. This is a guy who was obviously trying to financially benefit himself, and now it's not in his best interest to continue to play as the in the Trump dumpster, right? And so he's now cooperating, and that's actually all of our obligation. And that's to cooperate with law enforcement, to cooperate with Congress, things that you're not really seeing from the inner circle that surrounds Trump.
So, Michael, let's be clear, though. In this instance, Ali Alexander's claiming he doesn't really know anything. So he says, I'm cooperating, but I don't really know anything of value. When it comes to you, though, you know this former president very, very well. But it seems like he hasn't faced any legal consequences for his seemingly lawless activity. Michael, tell me, is there a roadmap that you could provide that would result in an indictment of Donald Trump?
Well, let me say this, that I'm very disappointed, as are many people, the fact that our district attorney here in New York, Alvin Bragg, despite what he says in the most recent statement that the investigation is ongoing and continuing, I believe personally that it's not. And I make that statement simply because in the 2+ months since Alvin Bragg has been in office, I have yet to speak to him once. Moreover, they actually returned to me thousands and thousands of original documents. Now, anybody that knows how the prosecutorial system works, yourself included, you know that they like to keep the originals. And generally, they don't give you copies back either. That's just the way the system works. The fact that they returned this box of documents that I had provided, which in and of itself is a roadmap to a absolute indictment and prosecution of not just Donald, but the children, the organization, Alan Weisselberg as well. The fact that they returned it to me is, to me, a clear indication that the case is not going to go forward. And why Alvin Bragg just doesn't come right out and say so, I don't know.
Michael, my apologies, but listen, you're no wallflower. So when they're doing stuff from Bragg's office by giving you back these original documents that, in your own words, provide a roadmap for not only the legal culpability for Trump and maybe others, did you ask them, what are you doing? Why are you giving me the stuff back?
Yeah, so the answer is no. Like I stated, I have not spoken to Alvin Bragg. I spoke once to Mark Pomerantz since he has put that statement and left the office. I mean, the fact that after 2 years, remember, while I was in Otisville, the district attorney's office, five individuals from the district attorney's office came to see me, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And that's what ultimately brought about the case in order to obtain Trump's tax returns. The fact that, Mark Pomerantz, who is an expert in this, makes a statement to Alvin Bragg that, I believe that we should indict immediately and we should prosecute. The fact that they let him go and not to continue with it, again, is an indication to me that the case is not going forward, because there is nobody more experienced in this type of litigation than Mark Pomerantz and Carrie Dunn from the DA's office.
Yeah, quickly, and the time I have left with you, Michael, which is just maybe about 30 seconds. New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking to hold Trump in civil contempt for his efforts to stonewall her civil tax fraud investigation. As you know, that probe only began because you gave honest testimony to Congress that Trump deflated his asset values to reduce real estate taxes as well as other possible civil and criminal offenses. With what you know about how things operated at the Trump organization and with Trump, is her investigation still heading in the right direction? Is she focusing on those right places?
Yeah, she's laser focused. And, I give her a tremendous amount of credit for what she's doing right now. Look, I say this all the time. It's so worth repeating. I don't want to see Donald Trump or anybody indicted or prosecuted simply because I fundamentally disagree with them on virtually everything. I want to see them prosecuted because they broke the law. And in this specific case, they did break the law. And I know it because, again, I have the documents. Now, fortunately, the AG has plenty of those documents, and I've met with them in the past as well. And I believe that Alvin Bragg, as the DA, his job is not to convict. His job is to prosecute, and they wasted a tremendous opportunity. My only hope is that he's watching your show, Katie, and that he reconsiders his position, requests Mark Pomerantz, Carrie Dunn, and others, to come back and to continue, because I really always believe that the New York DA's case was the strongest of all of them. Remember, you have Tish James's case is civil. Can it turn criminal? The answer to that is yes, but at the moment, it's just still civil.
Well, Michael Cohen, hopefully Bragg and others are tuning in and watching the show. Thank you. You can hear more from Michael from his podcast, Mea Culpa.